Maybe you'll find yourself in a bit of an awkward situation. You're in a place where you feel too small. You feel like you once used to enjoy being in that space, but you don't enjoy it anymore. And you're trying to figure out, what does the next step look like? So if you're looking to evolve and rebrand and really come into yourself and welcome back. We are back with another video. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. You're the realist for being here. And today at the starting point, my name is Rodna. I realized I never introduced myself, so my name is Rodna, and on this channel we talk about all things working smarter and not harder, because time is precious and I am not trying to work hard when I can work smart. So I work and I share tools, tricks, techniques on how to improve yourselves and be the best version of you and be the best version of who God created you to be. So today we're talking about rebranding. Over the last couple of weeks, I have slowly been decluttering my house. And I have a pair of jeans that I loved. And when I tell you I love these jeans, these are my favorite jeans. I love these jeans. I bought them like 3 years ago and they just made me feel so good. They made me feel very womanly and they were shaped in all the right places. And I love these jeans. I wore them all the time because they were my favorite jeans. Now, a lot has changed in the last 3 years. I had a baby in the last 3 years, and along the way they stopped feeling as good as they used to. I don't know if the jeans shrunk in the washing machine, in the tumble dryer, or maybe I gained a little bit of weight, or maybe a combination of both. I will probably say a bit of both because I don't, but they stopped feeling the way that I used to feel when I looked in the mirror when I first wore them. I'd be in the mirror like, yes. And then somewhere along the lines, I was now breathing in to wear these jeans. I was now like jumping a little bit to wear these jeans. And at some point they just felt uncomfortable. I wore them for dinner. I went out with my husband and we went for dinner and I ate. And on the way home in the car, I had to unbutton my favorite jeans. And as I was decluttering, I looked at these jeans and I thought, I love these jeans. But then it realized these jeans represented the old version of me, and I had evolved and I had become somebody new, and I couldn't hold on to these pair of jeans anymore because, quite frankly, they were cutting the circulation of my waist. And if I wear them any longer, I might just faint or suffocate or something like that. So I had to let my jeans go. And that really hurt. I was like, why are you like, this is just a pair of jeans? But the jeans meant more than jeans. They meant who I was at that time. They represented the old me. And it was quite a thing letting them go. But as I let them go and I put them away, I began to reflect on me, on how I've evolved as a person over the last couple of years and how I've been holding on to past versions of me, older versions of me that I'm not anymore. And the truth is, as people, we evolve constantly. We're constantly growing and changing. The tastes, the things that we used to love years ago, we don't love them anymore. The style that I used to have many years ago, I don't have anymore. The interests and the likes and the passions and the desires I used to have many years ago, I don't have them. But I found that I was still stuck in my previous years. I was still stuck eating the foods that I previously enjoyed just because I thought that's what I liked and that's what I wanted. I did at a time, but I found myself eating things. I'm like, I don't really enjoy this. Why am I eating it? Because I once used to like them. And then it started making me think about evolution and, how people evolve and grow and how I'm becoming this version of myself that I don't necessarily know what that person looks like, but God does. And I'm really like leaning into my faith and leaning into God and saying, God, you created me before I was in my mother's womb. Like, you know who I'm supposed to be. I'm evolving and becoming that person. And what does that person look like? So I've been on a journey, I guess, on rebranding, getting rid of the old and really making space for the new, and trying to identify who is this person right now and who is this person Rodna becoming, because I'm evolving and I've recognized that. So there's no point holding on to the past. And this can sometimes be past friends as well. It can be past acquaintances, past anything, past foods that no longer fit into your now and who you are now. We're just hoarding and holding on to stuff that no longer serves us anymore. So if you've got those jeans that don't fit you anymore, like myself, it's time to let them go. And do you know what? I then bought some new jeans, and let me tell you, oh my goodness, I put those things on. They were my right size. They fit my body now, not the body that I used to be before my second child. They fit my body now. And I was in the mirror like, who is she? Oh my goodness. I felt like £1,000,000. I said, why did I not do this sooner? But those jeans represented the new me, the new person that I'm becoming, the person that I am right now in the present, not trying to squeeze and mold myself into the previous version. Those jeans, I felt like money. I felt like, wow. And then it just started making me think about my wardrobe. And I was like, I'm wearing all these things. I don't actually like them. I don't feel good when I wear them. And I just began to purge some stuff away, and I started thinking about my own personal style now and just the colors that I love. And you will see as we go, you might get a feel of my colors. Like, I have colors that I like, that make me feel good, that make me feel confident. And that's whole part of the rebranding. Like, who is she? Who is she? Okay, you will see who she is in these next videos, because I am definitely going through a rebrand, a restructure of the person that I am now, and I love it. I've really been enjoying it. And I guess I wanted to share some questions that I've been asking myself. Maybe you'll find yourself in a bit of an awkward situation. You're wearing clothes, or you're in a place where you feel too small. You feel like you once used to enjoy being in that space, but you don't enjoy it anymore. And you're trying to figure out, what does the next step look like? So I've gone through questions and the things that I've been reflecting on, and the things that I've just been coming, and I've been journaling and writing and really trying to understand, who am I becoming? Who is God wanting me to become? And what does that look like? What does that look like for my life, for my children, for my business, and for me? So if you're looking to evolve and rebrand and really come into yourself and be aligned with who God wants you to be and who God created you to be, not what society says, but really who God created you to be. I'm not trying to be in this year anybody apart from the best version and the person that God created me, Rodna, to be. If you're on the same journey, or maybe you're not sure where to start from, these next questions are for you. The question I asked myself is, I said, Rodna, what do you want to feel like? When you think about yourself, like, what do you want to feel? Because I realize that a lot of the times we've become so numb to our feelings and what's going on around us. We are on autopilot. You know, you eat the same thing, you go drive to the same place every day, you sleep in the same place. Like, we've just become an autopilot and we've stopped feeling. So I asked myself, Rana, what kind of, like, when you think about yourself now and you in a year, 2 years to come, what does that person feel like? Like, what is going on in their body? And what does that version of myself look like? And I had to really think about this. What does that person feel like? And the first thing that I thought to myself, I was like, they feel confident. They feel bold. That version of me, the version that I'm rebranding and becoming, it feels confident and bold, and is really confident to step into the next for what God has for me. I don't know why I'm saying them, like it's not me, but them, the future version, the me that I'm becoming is confident, feels confident, looks confident, sounds confident. That person feels and looks bold in the way that they approach their goals, their visions, their plans, their relationships, every part. What does that feel like? And I began to sit there and like start feeling, what does confidence feel like? What does confidence act like? What does confidence smell like? And I just began to sit and think, and how I could start feeling those feelings now, because I am becoming that person. I am rebranding and I am evolving. So if I'm saying I want to be confident, what does that look like? What does that look like for me? Because confidence means different people to different things to different people. What are the words that best describe me? What do I want to be known for? What are the words that best describe me? And I thought the 3 words that would best describe me and the person that I want to be known for, the person that I am. What are 3 words that describe that? So if you're thinking about yourself, when you're thinking about the person that you're evolving into and becoming, what do you want to be known for? What are the words that best describe? When someone says, "Ooh, Letitia," oh, Letitia is strong. Letitia is a warrior. Letitia is ambitious. You know, what words do you want to be associated with? Because there is often a gap between where we are now, and I say this all the time, and where we want to be. So if we can identify where we want to be and where we're going, we can then step into that person. So what do I want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? When people describe you, and just think about someone that you know, describe them. And then the 3rd thing I ask myself is, how do I want to impact and influence? What impact do I want to have in the world, before even going to the world, in my family, in my society, in my community, and the world at large? Like, what impact do I want to leave? What legacy do I want to leave on this earth? What do I want to be known for? What influence do I want to have? And influence doesn't mean influencer or having a large following. It just means that in your day-to-day life, like, what impact do you want to have? And that is basically coming from and stemming from who God has created you to be. We all have different passions and likes and things that are inbuilt in us. We all have things that God has called us to do. So you might find yourself being so passionate about cooking that when you cook, my goodness, everybody knows this person has really thrown it down. Or it could be that you like poetry, that words just come so naturally to you. Or it could be that you're so passionate about working with young people, you're working with youth. Or it could be that when you see numbers, like, you crunch numbers and you are the best in what you do. We are all uniquely made. It's the same way that our fingerprints are unique, is the same way that our influence and our impact is different. So when I'm saying what impact do you have, I don't mean start a YouTube channel and start, become a humanitarian and, sell all your clothes and become a missionary. That might be your thing, or it may not. But what I am saying is, in your day-to-day life with the people that you communicate and you speak to, how do you impact those people? How do you influence those people? You've got a voice, you've got a message, there are people that are drawn to you and will listen to you when you speak based on your area of influence and, what you like doing and the things that you're passionate about. So how are you currently using that, and how do you want to use it? Everybody has a voice and everybody has a thing that they're supposed to be doing. So what is that thing? What do you want to be known for, and what impact and influence? If I think about Miles Monroe, he had an impact and influence on the world. He came from nothing, but that was his voice and his journey. And he has spoken extensively about leadership, about purpose, about becoming the person that God has created you to be and walking in that. So we've all got a voice. You don't need a microphone. You don't need to start YouTube or start creating content, though that would be great. However, where you are with the people that you speak to, you might be your nurse. How can you positively impact the people that are around you, your colleagues, your patients, anybody that is around you, the people in a shop? You have the opportunity to influence and impact those people. Whether you realize it or not, you are impacting them right now, and that could be either negatively or positively. So I asked myself, what impact do I want to have? What influence do I want to have with the people that I speak to, even on my YouTube platform? What do I want to be known for? What impact and influence do I want to be known for? And then when I had finished asking those personal questions for myself, I then asked myself, who does God say that I am? Who has God created me to be? In Jeremiah 1:5, he says, "For I know the plans that I have. Before you were born, I set you apart." So who does God say that you are? Who does God say that you should be? Who does God want you to be? Who does God Before times began, before the earth was even created, God had a plan for you and he had a plan for me. And we're here because God needed us to do something. He had an assignment for us to do. So who does God say that I am, and who does God want me to be? Because I never want to, like, the worst thing I can think of is spending my whole life doing something and at the end of it realizing that I was doing the wrong thing. Like, that would be the most painful and the most heartbreaking thing, knowing that I did not fulfill the mission that God created me for, and I did not do the thing that God created me to do. And a lot of the times we find ourselves not in alignment with what God says or what God is saying about us. We're in jobs and in spaces that God doesn't need us to be in, but because we may not hear his voice, or because we may not feel confident enough to step into that space, we just sit. And you know when you're not in the right space. You know that 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 you are called for more, because there is something that is inbuilt inside of each and every one of us. It's something that is inside, that when you really think and you're honest to yourself, you know, I'm made for more. You know, there is more to my life. You know that I'm supposed to be somewhere, and you can feel it. Nobody has to come and tell you. You yourself can feel that there is more to my life and there is more that I should be doing, but you might not necessarily be there yet. Spending time with God and saying, God, what do you say about my life? Who do you say that I am? Because I'm not interested in what the world wants me to be. I'm not interested in what society wants me to be or what my parents want me to be. I'm interested in what God wants me to be. Who do you want me to be? What have you created me for? Like, God has given us gifts, and he's given us talents, and he's given us interests, and he's given us all of these things so that we may fulfill the calling and the purpose that he has for us. So you find yourself naturally able to play music. You find yourself able to rap. You find yourself able to cook and to bake. You find yourself able to speak and articulate things so well. Those are gifts that God has given all of us. But maybe the old version of you hasn't been using those or utilizing those. Maybe the old version of you hasn't really known what those gifts are. Maybe the old version of you hasn't really known what to do. But in the more you spend time with God, and the more you hear him, and the more you ask him, God, what do you have for my life? What do you plan for me? You then go through this process of rebranding. God will literally start rebranding you himself, and showing you and exposing you into certain things, and revealing that, you know, this is your gift. You're supposed to be doing this, and you're supposed to be going here. And naturally we evolve, and we begin to go on a process, on a journey of becoming the person that God has created us for. Not becoming this version of somebody else, because everybody has their own race to run. We're in a race at the moment, and everyone is different, and we need to stop this thing of comparing ourselves to other people. We are a body. One person is a leg, another person is the ear. One person is a nose, one person is an eye, one person is the hair. We all have different strengths and different talents, but you're looking at this person, you're like, wow, I wish I had that. How about we focus on our own? Let's focus on our own race to run. God has given you things that you need to do. So let's not focus on what other people are doing, but focus on what God wants us to do and what God has given you for your own place. I was speaking to one of my mums the other day, my pastor, my apostle, and she was sharing some with me, and I thought that was so profound, because I was like, oh my goodness, wow. And it's been ringing in my ear ever since. She was basically sharing with me that everybody has a voice, and everybody has people that they're there to impact and influence and speak to. And this could be telling people about Jesus or bringing people to Jesus, but everybody has people that they're supposed to speak to. And my voice, there are people that are waiting for my voice, and there are people that are waiting for your voice, and there are people that are waiting for you and waiting for me to hear the gospel or to hear certain things. So what then happens when we're not doing the thing that we're supposed to be doing, or we're living an old version of ourselves, or we're not stepping into the person that we need to become to level up, rebrand, and be able to speak to those people? We're responsible for people. There are souls at stake here. There are people that are waiting to hear our voices and to experience God through our voices, through our music, through our poetry, through our books, through our YouTube channels, through our cooking, through our everything. But we're refusing to evolve. We're refusing to step into the person that God is calling us to be. We're refusing to hear the voice of God concerning what He wants us to do. And then once I've asked myself all these questions, I then think, so what does that person do on a day-to-day basis? That version of me that I see, that version of me that I want to become, the version of me that God has created me, like what does that person do? What do they do? What kind of music do they listen to? What kind of places do they hang out with? Who is their network? What time does that person wake up? How much money does that person have in their bank? Or how much money do they need to have in their bank? What is that person's habits and daily routines? What makes that person successful? And I begin to think about what does that person and what does that version of yourself look like, and start to do those things. If that version of you is you writing a book, and that version of you spends 4 hours a day just writing, now start implementing some of those things. Start with 30 minutes of writing a day or a couple of times a week, and then you build that up. If that version of you is having your own cooking show, start cooking and documenting your recipes. Start becoming that version of you. If that version of you is a public speaker, start speaking. Start getting your social media together, get your LinkedIn sorted, and start being confident and putting yourself out there to speak. If that version of you is on YouTube, start creating the content. If that version of you is you losing weight and becoming a fitness coach, start losing the weight, getting on that treadmill, doing the things that you need to do in order to get to where you're going, because they're within reach. If you can see it, you can have it. If you can see that version of yourself that you want to become and you want to evolve into, you don't have to wait until you are that person. You become that person through evolution, through your daily habits, through what you do, who you speak to, who you interact yourself with. You become that person. You don't wait until you are that person. You start to think like that person, talk like that person, act like that person, eat like that person, and that's you becoming and evolving into that person. And also recognizing that that version of you is going to cost you something. It's going to might cost you time. It might cost you money. You might need to upskill yourself or leave that job that you're in to start something else. Or it might cost you your friendships, recognizing that, right, my friends aren't where I need to be anymore. I've outgrown them. It might cost you letting go of that boyfriend that is no longer aligned to where God is calling you to do, but it's going to cost you something. But if there's something that you need to get to it and it's where you're going, you need to let it go and really embrace the process of becoming and evolving to be the person that God is creating you to be. So it might mean you have to let go of I had to let go of my jeans and a lot of other things. But you need to let go in order to get something else. And I'm thinking about the analogy. I'll see if I can find it and post it. But it was this picture of a little girl who was, I think it was either God or her father, and she had a little teddy bear that she had, and God was saying, can you give me that teddy bear? And she was like, no, this is my favorite teddy bear. But behind God's back was like an even bigger teddy bear, and because it was behind God's back, she couldn't see it, and she was sad that she was letting go of this little tiny teddy. But if she only let it go and trusted in God, He was going to give her this big teddy bear that she would have loved even more. So that process hurts because it's a process of stretching and pruning and letting go of the old in order to receive and welcome and step into the new version of you, the new version of who you need to be in order to get where you want to go. You're not a small person. I'm not a small person. God is in this year is calling us to higher levels, and that requires stretching, that requires elevation. It requires a lot of stretching, a lot of molding and letting go of things and purging. But that's a rebrand. That is rebranding. Companies and organizations go through rebranding, and that could mean shaking off, letting go of some people that necessarily aren't serving the company anymore. It could mean rebranding. They are tightening up their budgets or having to let go of certain things in order to get to where they want to go. So this isn't a new process. People are evolving and rebranding all the time, and it's time for us to step into that and to really take this year to surrender and let go of the things that are holding us back. You know what's holding you back. I knew what was holding me back. And to really just embrace the process of becoming, of rebranding and stepping out of one thing and into becoming the best version of yourself and becoming of the best version of myself. So I'm on the journey, and I hope that you will ask yourself these questions that I've asked you, because it's really important. Life doesn't just happen. You have to work. You have to put in the work. You have to be willing and surrender and be like, yeah, I am going through this process and I am wanting to evolve and become a better version of myself. So if you've enjoyed this video, always don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are on a journey and I am evolving, and so is this channel, and I'm excited to see where God has taken this channel and just leveling up on all areas. So I'm excited. Subscribe, send this to a friend, because we're not elevating and growing by ourselves. We are doing so as a community of people. So yes, I will see you in my next video, and be sure to check out this video because I believe that it's gonna help you. See you in my next video.